So last year you heard about our goals to unify identity across our products. Today I'm happy to discuss what we've released. ZSLogin is the identity service for all of Zscaler. It simplifies identity management and authentication for administrators and soon for end users. This service unlocks new identity use cases for your zero trust architecture. In the first release, we focused on the administrator. ZSLogin is the central point of entry for administrators to all Zscaler products. If your administrators authenticate with Zscaler hosted credentials, they only need to maintain a single set of credentials. If your administrator is SSO from a SAML identity provider, you only need to maintain a single connection with that IDP. There's a lot more I could get into, but let me demonstrate a couple of things that we've built. The demo I'm going to give here, we're going to authenticate as an administrator with hosted credentials. And I want to show off the hosted credential experience so I can show off our support for passwordless multi-factor authentication. What you see here is the one and only one login screen to Zscaler. But I want to draw your attention to the second checkbox. In this case, I'm going to authenticate with a FIDO security key. FIDO is an industry standard that enables a passwordless multi-factor authentication that is phishing resistant. In this case, the two factors consist of what I have, a private key on this device, and what I am, my fingerprint biometric. So two factors of authentication, and I won't need to use a password. Now I'm using this USB key, but you could also use the fingerprint reader on your device. The difference being that this USB key is considered a roaming authenticator. I can go to other devices to authenticate with it. So I click next on the login screen, and my browser prompts me for my registered FIDO authenticator. I insert my USB key and put my finger on the fingerprint reader. And with that, then I am authenticated to Zscaler. What you see here are the list of services that I'm entitled to administer. Each tile is dynamically displayed based on the services your organization uses and the services that each admin is entitled to. By clicking on a tile, the admin is seamlessly brought into that admin console. So I can click the private access tile and seamlessly access ZPA, or I can click the internet access tile and I'm in ZIA. The last thing I want to mention about the administrator use case is that with ZSLogin, we can support automatic provisioning and deprovisioning of administrators from your identity providers by using SCIM. And this also applies to the entitlements that the administrator will receive. So support for administrators is available, but we've also made a lot of progress in our support for end users. The core principles for supporting end users are the same. There's one identity record with entitlements to the services in which that user should be enrolled. And just like for administrators, you only need to maintain a single connection with your identity provider. Now, whenever multiple services are referring to a particular user, we will know absolutely whether that's the same user or a different user. So now we'll have this guaranteed unique identity. And that's going to make it much easier for us to share all contextual data about a user throughout the Zscaler ecosystem. So for example, it'll make it very easy for us to share things like the user risk profile, whether deception has detected any nefarious activity, whether ZSLogin has detected any anomalies to the way a user authenticated. And not only will we be able to share these signals across Zscaler services, but amongst third parties as well. Maybe a third-party identity provider has detected a risky user based on some activity that occurred outside of Zscaler and wants to share that information with Zscaler to help protect your organization. Policies at Zscaler could then be defined to limit this user's access or even send the user back to the identity provider to re-authenticate. What you're looking at here is a user record in ZSLogin. And with the work that we're doing, it's going to make it very easy for us to provide a way for you to centrally review all contextual data about a user in real time. In this case, we're showing examples from ZIA, Client Connector, ZSLogin, and Azure Active Directory. Great, so let's say you want to use this information to protect your organization. Let's say you want to detect risky users and limit their ability to upload sensitive data or access sensitive resources. With the work that we're doing, it's going to make it very easy for you to define context criteria for policies that take in signals from a bunch of different sources, such as the user risk profile, endpoint security, any anomalies from authentication, or activity detected by deception. Likewise, it'll make it just as easy for us to define access policies using that exact same set of criteria. So this means that any policy on any service throughout Zscaler will have access to the exact same context data, and ultimately you could define the exact same criteria for those policies. Now, we already have well over 100 different types of contextual data, so making this easy to use is going to be the next trick. So we're also looking at ways to enable you to centrally define a range of context signals and their thresholds. And therefore, rather than maintaining long lists of granular criteria in every one of your policies throughout Zscaler, you can use the central definition and refer to it from your policies. This will make it easier to use and ensure that your policies are more consistent.